Let's look at the virtual machine. First of all, what is a virtual machine? We talked about different nodes in the data center. We talked about servers running in the data center, but fundamentally, all these servers are computers, right? Computers. You can have compute, you can have storage, but essentially, it's someone else's server running in the data center. If we look at what is a computer, and getting back from the very beginning of computer history, the von Neumann architecture, which defines all the computer architectures that we still have, which are still using today. A compute is a unit of processing. It has a central processing unit with some control unit and some arithmetic and logical unit. This is which is called CPU, central processing unit, with a memory inside. This forms a computer. Then it has input and output devices. And for a traditional server, it starts with hardware. It has hardware CPU. It has hardware memory chips, and memory sticks that you will insert into certain slots. And then you have a hard disk and other input-output devices. Hard disk is kind of the device that can do both input and output. So this is the hardware, and on top of the hardware, there's a software installed. You have an operating system, you have an application and data. But essentially, it starts with CPU and memory, then expand into hard disk and other input-output devices, followed by installing software on this hardware, starting with operating system, followed by application, and followed by data. So if you think about at the very beginning, of course, each server, each machine only runs one job, right? But then as the computer technology improves, servers can have much more power than a single workload now. These days, the servers always runs multiple jobs at the same time. It's possible to run multiple environments, even multiple environments, which means the same hardware is capable of supporting multiple operating systems and running multiple applications on the same hardware. So this is when things comes the hypervisor, something come up called hypervisor. Hypervisor basically is a powerful physical host machine. It's a real server that's so powerful that it can host and emulates multiple machines, computers, servers. It's emulating machines. It's not a real machine. Hypervisor itself is a machine, but then it can run multiple environments. So each of those environments looks like a machine to outsiders. And the hypervisor also have the power to allow management of these emulated machines, computer servers, and those emulated machines are called virtual machines. Virtual machine is basically an abstraction of a physical host machine. It looks and feels like a physical host machine, just that it's not the entirety of a host of a physical machine. It's a it's a machine it's a application that simulates a physical host machine. It's an abstraction of an execution environment that can be made dynamically available to authorized clients by using well-defined protocols such as SSH or RDP. Now, virtual machine comes with a resource quota. When you provision a virtual machine on a hypervisor, you will need to specify how many CPU, how many memory are allocated to this virtual machine. Just like you are purchasing your laptop from some online vendor, you will specify CPU, memory. Similarly, when you provision a virtual machine, you will specify CPU, memory, all these resources that you will be you will be utilizing, and the service provider and hypervisor will allocate this number of CPU and amount of memory to your virtual machine. And then finally, you will have your software configuration, which is usually taken care of by hypervisors. It will provide you with the necessary operating system and certain services that you will need. If we look at probably an image to explain this, to the left we have a traditional stack, right? Traditional stack have the hardware. It's a one machine. with hardware, with one operating system. You run multiple applications in that, and these applications share the same hardware and operating system. But in the hypervisor, you still have one hardware and have the hypervisor software, management software. But on top of that, the remaining of the CPU, memory, and all the resources can be contributed to individual environments, which is called the virtual machine. Inside each virtual machine, you have operating system, you have app. So you still have the same concept of hardware, CPU, memory, hard disk, but now you are not providing them as a whole to your customer. Instead, you will divide your CPU, memory, all these resources among different virtual machines. Then you offer your virtual machine to these virtual machines to your customers. And each virtual machine comes with their own operating system, application, and data. And note here, this operating system and application and data can be different from virtual machine to virtual machine, even inside each hypervisor. It can be like one virtual machine runs Linux, another runs Windows. That's perfectly fine. It's not related to software hardware. So everything can be run in its own environment of virtual machine. Azure also provides this virtual machine service. As you can imagine, while Azure has all a powerful data center, within those powerful data center, there are so many powerful machines. All this machine hardware can be utilized as a hypervisor. So Azure also provides this virtualized computing resources, virtual machines. They are virtualized instance of a Windows or Linux servers that runs in the cloud, and they can be provisioned with a predetermined CPU, memory, hard disk, operating system, and other settings. So we will go into quick demo, but before that, so there are some information you want to talk about. Some of these we mentioned before, some of them we didn't, but the first one we didn't mention before, subscription and resource group. These are management units inside Azure that you subscription, as you can see from the name, is related somewhat related to billing and cost. Resource group resource group is the grouping of a resource of different resources. We will discuss this in further detail in one of the future sessions. Then we discuss about region and availability zone, which data center you want the virtual machine to be in, and the virtual network, CPU and memory quota, and the hard disk, right? So the first one, subscription resource group, is about organizing and billing. It's then region and availability zone is about where you place that. Virtual machine networking is about the connection inside your is about the networking connections, and the CPU and memory and hard disk, of course, are resources quotas. So let's start with our virtual machine demo.